eating less meat. Or you still have a lot of people who are like, oh, we were vegan and now we're carnivore. And I'm like, hype is hype. I just do me because it doesn't matter what the world is doing. I don't care what the world is doing. I care what I want to do, like what I want to eat and what I like. Like that's why many moons ago, like when there were like these activist vegan people, I couldn't relate because I guess deep down I thought, well, what is their intention? Like if you are being so over the topsy about what you're eating, I think you're just doing that for attention. I really do. I feel like the people who are like, oh, I'm going to be plant based because for the animals and doing this extreme activism stuff, like I feel like, to be honest with you, in a lot of those cases, those people they didn't legitimately feel that way. They were doing that because it was trendy and it was like fun at the moment to like say, "Oh, I'm a vegan activist," or just be over the top. Because then a few years later, a lot of them were on the carnivore train. But I'm just vegan for myself, plant based, whatever you want to call it. I don't like to eat meat. Like it's mostly vegan. Sometimes it's not perfectly vegan, but I was curious because I found this like I know there's a lot of people in the plant-based community. They're like, "Ew, you can like you can't eat mock meats. You can only eat like beans and tofu." And those things are great, okay? But I have ate mock meats on and off all my life, and they're really not bad because people demonize plant-based processed food, but then they still eat potato chips and applesauce and even meat. This is all processed. Those are processed things. Unless you're going out there and just eating raw meat or something. Like basically this, it has soy protein, which is soybeans, salt, water. Like it's soy based. So if you don't like mock meats, whatever. But they're not like inherently unhealthy. Like I don't even like the people who are like, "Oh, you can't eat um any mock meats." Well, if you eat potato chips, I don't want to hear that because potato chips are processed too. If you eat applesauce, if you eat cereal, if you eat bread, it's just silly. Like the things that people decide you can't have, like a lot of it's fear mongering. Like I eat what I like. And I'm here to be plant based because I like it, not because some influencer in a certain year decided that that was the thing people do. So I eat in a way that makes me feel good. I'm not eating a certain way to make other people like think that I'm praiseworthy, if that makes any sense. I don't know. That probably doesn't make any sense to most people, but just you have to do what's right for you. But personally, my boy who got their mama. That doesn't even make any sense. Like, because that has nothing in our chat. Like, we don't even talk about, we're not talking about any of that. It's very silly. Very silly indeed. But I think you're not following chat policy. I'm feeling. So I have a chat policy on this channel, and I have a feeling that doesn't sound like it's following it, so we're just going to remove that. Bye. Follow chat policy. Yeah, because I do my own artwork. And I like to do artwork. I'm not one of those ragey bait channels, so yeah. I'm just saying, you want to come watch with me, you have to like be respectful and kind, and you can't say over the topsy stuff. Oh, you can sue it on other people's channels, not on mine. How you doing, Frankie? Okay, I don't know. Okay, thank you. I wasn't really sure what he was saying because it just sounded kind of. I err on the side of caution because I have had some kind of weird people come on chat and say some kind of X-rated stuff, and I'm like, but thank you. I think this bag is so big. It's weird. No, don't fall. No, I'm gonna have to clean that up now. Oh, that's nice of you. Okay, very cute. As long as he's being nice, that's cool. I mean, I probably am your mom's age, I'm sure. That's true, but I never know. Like, because somebody else was saying something else, like that other kind of thing. And it. Okay. You know what? I need to cut this open. I'm going to put it in a different kind of container soon. Because I think you still weigh 25 pounds. I'm pretty sure. If I go weigh it and then I weigh myself, I'll know. That's how because I don't have a scale for it, but I could weigh it and then put it down. Okay, so the verdict is okay. So the verdict is this is like about 10 pounds. Needs the better container. That's nice. I hope you're nice to your mom. So I need a way that's easier to pour this because pouring it into that thing is not going to work. I've been wanting to start washing my rice more, so I'm gonna. Because I like that whole idea of like kind of washing the rice. I think it's a good idea to wash your rice. Kind of cleans it a bit. Gets it ready. Sticks to your fingers a little bit, but that's okay. Be walking around picking up little pieces of rice later. I don't like rice going everywhere. Clean it all up. Okay, so rinse my fingers off. I don't say what my age is just because I just don't. I'm older than you. Because yeah, it's just not it's not important. I'm not offended. I just don't believe that you should like share like that much information about yourself online. Like you can be online and you can do things, but I think there's a way to be online without like I have like certain rules about what I share. Like I give generalizations. Like I'm over 30. That's all you really need to know. Um I'm more vague because I think nowadays people they're not very careful about what they share online, and I think you should be a little bit more. I just think I err more on the side of like I don't know. It's not really anybody's business, but like if you want to tell people your age, that's fine. Maybe younger people today just are more transparent about everything, but I personally just say, hey, I'm over the age of 30. I'm probably old enough to be your mom. I guess so. I just was like, okay, I'm glad that you guys didn't mean anything bad by it. I've been kind of concerned about some of the things people are posting in these chats. Like, maybe it's just like when I go live later in the evening, like I've been getting some wacky, tacky people that are posting some very questionable stuff. Like, I'm like, no, you shouldn't be on YouTube, is what I tell those people. Like, it was like, somebody just said something, I was like, oh, wow. I was a little shocked. But should I be shocked? Probably not. Shouldn't be shocked at all. Should never be shocked because, you know, the internet. Maybe I do 1.5 cups and I could let the rest of the rice soak. But I kind of want to cook it anyway. 1.5. Let's see how much rice there is. I don't want to waste any. Sometimes I drain the water. But it's okay. If I waste a few granules of it, I should have got a colander. And I didn't, so that's my bad. Okay. Hi. Okay, you like this this little measuring cup? It is cute. My sister bought this for me. Well, actually, I think she gave it to my parents she bought them the set and I ended up getting it. I think he's saying that he likes the measuring cup because it's shaped like a heart. It's probably too much water, but it's okay. Let's see if I can get the rest of it out. I'm just going to fill the rest of it up with water. What is bro saying? I'm not really sure what he's trying to say. But I don't see anything else. I just see what the previous person said. So they're gone. I think they were saying that they liked the heart measuring cup, maybe? Maybe that's what he's saying. Not real sure. I think I'm going to just do the boil rice method. Because I need to get a bigger pan, actually. Yeah, I'm going to need to get the bigger pan if I want to do... Yeah, no, this is a pretty good size pan. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Easy pie. Just get everything in. I'm going to waste any of the rice. Get it all in. don't like to waste food. I don't read books and you won't have brain rot. That's the simplest solution to that. Do you read books? If you read a book, you'll learn new things, read news articles, have boundaries with your phone. Like, I do lives and things, but, like, honestly, like, throughout the day when I'm out in public, like, my phone is stowed away. Like, I put it away. Like, I interact with people, I look them in the eye, I say hello. Those are ways, like, I think I know what you think brain rot is. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but maybe not. Not sure. That's what you mean. I've heard this term recently, but it's funny because it's like all the new generations, they have like slightly different ways of saying something that I've heard people say before. Like, for instance, like slay. I'm going to tell you, I think in the 80s, people said rad, but slay's kind of more demure. I feel like it's more of a demure version of rad. Like, I feel like slay is more something that girls or ladies say. Well, maybe they say it to guys too, like slay. I don't know. I guess everybody says slay to each other. But I would say, like, it's kind of like this era's version of the word rad. Like, there's certain colloquialisms that, in colloquialism, the word colloquialism, it's like basically it's like a slang, like local vernacular. Vernacular means like not like standardized way of speaking. Like, it's not like the King's English or the Queen's English or standard American English or what you would call talk radio English. Like, you know, there were schools where they would send people to learn how to speak on the radio, or newscasters also would sometimes go to certain schools because they wanted to have like a standardized accent that they all spoke in. Like, if you ever listen to newscasters, I mean, I don't know if young people do as much today, but like if you do ever still listen to like a local newscaster, they all kind of sound the same in North America. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in the city of Ontario or Tennessee, you know, Tallahassee, like Florida. They all kind of have a similar accent because that was a thing back in the day. People would go to like certain like courses or schools to learn how to speak in a standardized way. Like, there's something called the transatlantic accent, and that's not a real thing, by the way, because nobody lived in between the Atlantic Ocean. It was just a way of saying that it was like a mixture of British English and American English on the East Coast. But colloquial usage is more like just slang, local usage. But I find this very interesting because nowadays, I would say there's a globalization, especially due to TikTok, of like certain terms that just, I think worldwide, that a lot of young people would use that would have been more contained to like a certain region. Although in the past, like, people would also watch movies, and that's somehow how they would pick up certain... Oh, one word that people used to love to say in the 40s was swell. That's swell. Like, that's great. Like, it's fun. Like, we should... one day I want to do a video about, like, colloquial slang through the ages. I think that could be interesting. I'm going to boil that. Eggplant. Did I have eggplant? Do I still have eggplant? Yeah. Okay, so eggplant is called aubergine in many places. And I have my carrots. I'm going to are gonna go bad soon. So everybody has to be made. Just have to get them all. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is Slay is similar to Rad. It's the same thing. Because in the 80s, people used to say, oh, that's rad, that's cool. Like Slay, it just feels more demure. It's like more of a demure, like I see, like, I don't know, women that are kind of like put together, like clean girls saying, oh, slay to each other. Whereas in the 80s, you would see like, in an 80s movie, you'd see like some, not exactly what you would call a hipster, but just like some 80s kids say, oh, it's rad, man. Valley speak. It's interesting. These things kind of come in cycles. Everybody thinks everything's new again, but I sort of just see some certain things come back to the forefront. Just like politics right now, like the whole, like people think Trump is great, and I don't think he's great. A lot of us know that he's not great, but like just the whole ideas of wanting to back people that are more, I don't know, right-leaning, like that goes in circles. Like sometimes it's more liberal, sometimes it's more conservative. It's just interesting, like things come in waves and cycles. Riz, I've heard of that, but I don't know what that is. You can tell me if you like. I just have never heard of that one. I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is. Like I've heard some people say that. Oh yeah, another thing that people used to say, like in the late 80s, early 90s, that's so tubular. And I was always like, what does that mean, tubular? Are they like going down, like are they going down like a water side? Like, I guess tubular meant awesome. Like a lot of these things, like I just feel like there's new words for each generation that they use, but it's kind of the same idea. It's interesting. You guys should watch, like if you want to know, like if you want to see 80s slang and it's like I guess like just in its peak form, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's a very silly movie, but I kind of recommend it too because you might learn something about history. And you might be inspired to actually read about history. Because Bill and Ted are failing their history class, but for some reason this school is very strange. They all have to take a history test together, like in the auditorium, which is really weird because when I was in high school, we never did that. The school was very random, like the way that they did things. And they're failing history, so, or they have to do a presentation. So somehow they end up going back in time through a phone booth. And they meet Napoleon and they meet Abraham Lincoln. It's a pretty 80s. It's a very 80s movie, and it takes place at the mall. It's peak 80s, I'm just saying. But you'll hear a lot of 80s slang in it. And Keanu Reeves, like that's one of his first movies where he became like really famous. So, you know, you want to see Keanu Reeves when he wasn't even a teenager, by the way, when he was in that. I think he was in his 20s, but he played a teenager. Because back in the days, like, for some reason, they always used to have older people play teenagers. Oh, and another movie where they used to have older people play teenagers was Grease. Like, a lot of the people in Grease were in their 20s and 30s. So, I don't know. But I don't feel like slang is always completely different. Like, when you hear like just like terms that are kind of popular now, it's kind of similar to things people said before. But that's all I'm going to say about that. But if you look up the history of slang, you'll see these things kind of come in cycles. They really do. Kind of, yeah. I get what you're saying. Like, there used to be this, like, people used to tell their kids, oh, you better eat your carrots so that you have good vision. That started during World War II, by the way. That was British propaganda about how carrots would improve your vision. But not really. It was just because there was a shortage and they wanted people to eat things that wouldn't take away from the food supply for soldiers. So they were promoting carrots. But also there's like stories too about how they didn't really have a lot of sugar. So Audrey Hepburn, she actually used to make carrot cake. And that was really popular during that time period. And it was World War II style carrot cake. If you ate it today, it's not like what you get at the bakery. Let me just say that. I like carrot cake, but I hate cream cheese frosting. Well, I don't eat cream cheese. And that's one reason I don't really like carrot cake, because for some reason carrot cake must always have cream cheese frosting. And I don't think so, but apparently that's the rule for carrot cake. It must have it. I've never actually made carrot cake. Well, I think I made it once, but I just don't like it that much, so why would I make it? I used to make a lot of apple pies, though. Like, if you ever look at my channel, I was, like, always making apple pies for a long time. But I don't have any homegrown apples this year, because the tree didn't make that many. My mom's tree just did not produce that many apples, so I wasn't making as many. Okay, I think I need to get the lid on my rice so that I can start cooking it off. That poor carrot. It's a bit of a trimmy trim. What is that one? To get all our, look at the carrot shavings at the end. I usually like to do them when I go, as I go, but today I'm not. It's a very skinny little carrot. By the way, did you know baby carrots, like, there's no such thing. They're just like, basically, all a baby carrot is a peeled carrot. They like, it's basically just a peeled carrot that's like shaved down into like this size. That's what a baby carrot is. I really like do like carrots. I do. Let me get another pan. Hi, I'm glad you're back. So, I'm tending to the rice. It's being silly. I have to keep an eye on that pot. They say never take your eye off some pots. I really had to keep my eye on the rice just so it didn't boil over. But I still need to get my other pot. Get my other pot. Alright. I need my other pot so I can start putting things in it. Put carrots in there. Usually I like to cut them up pretty fine, but I'm just like, yeah, I just want to eat it eventually. I don't feel hungry. I got a pretzel earlier and it pretty much filled me up all day. I took my little sister to Wetzel Pretzel earlier today, and I hadn't been there in a long time. But I'm going to say this. One thing I've noticed, and we don't even get fast food that often, is fast food's definitely not cheap anymore. Like back in the days, that used to be, it was never nutritious, but it was always cheap. Maybe not Wetzel Pretzel, but I'm like, okay, so all we did was I got like pretzel bites with marinara sauce and a lemonade. Well, strawberry lemonade to be exact. And I got her, she wanted a pepperoni pretzel. I don't eat pepperoni, she does. It's like a pepperoni pizza pretzel and a lemonade, and they were small. It was $30. I'm like, yeah, it's a new time and age. Everything's more expensive now. And then we went to Walmart. She goes, oh my gosh, like this is like this amount of money. I'm like, yes, everything's more expensive now, like even than 5 years ago. But you know, I guess inflation, whatever. It is what it is, what it is. Keep an eye on that pan. Okay. Gotta be very careful with that pan. Nope. Microwave. Trying to be silly. Okay, so let's keep cutting veggies. Why not? Actually, I need to finish this. Peeling them first. Mostly peel. And more peel. Boop. Boop. Still keeping an eye on my pan because I feel like I don't want it to boil over again. is doing. That's good. I'm going to turn off the heat. I think that's good. Oh, okay. I think it's pretty good. That's a lot of rice I just made. Hi. I just made a big giant pan of rice. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna put it to the back because I don't want it to fall. I made so much rice. That's great. Love it. Love that for me. Boop. So back with you. Okay. My potty holders. Pan handling. Okay, so what else? Let's see. Oh yes, I didn't finish peeling all my veggies. Guess that'll do. I should have probably ate these carrots earlier because they're getting kind of. No, I mean, maybe I'll just rinse them off. Cut that one up. It's just gonna be cooked in. I was gonna add some sauteed, a can of cooked veggies to go with them to like really spread it out, along with this can of. I'm really gonna bulk this up. It's gonna be a lot of food that I'm gonna make. Yes, I do like to. I like to batch cook. When I cook, I'm not gonna just make like, my mom and I have different ideas on cooking. She's just like, you should just make a tiny bit, one for one meal. I'm like, well, when we were kids, you never did that. You used to make a big pan of everything. I mean, maybe now you don't do that, but if I'm gonna cook, if I want to spend the time in the kitchen cooking on a Monday night, I'm gonna make a whole bunch so it lasts for several meals. I'm not gonna just make now. I'm gonna make, I might not, like, I don't really do exactly what you call meal prep, like where I have it all packed up. Like, I know a lot of people do that. I don't think that's realistic. Like, it might be for some people, but I just like to make big batches of things, and I will eat the same thing for days on end, and that would bore people to tears. They'd be like, oh no, you can't do that. Because with meal prep, I see it as people want to make a lot of variation of things. And I personally, I don't need a variation. I just make a big pan and pot. It's the same thing. Like when I make mujadara, the Syrian lentils and rice, I will make a giant pot of that. And there was a time in 2010 when I was on an extreme budget, and I ate that for like a whole week. Nothing else. I ate mujadara every day, lentils and rice every day. This is going to be a little bit more glorified because it has like some, well, it has like the unmeat thingy. I could have just bought tofu, honestly. So it might be a little bit more glorified, this one. I probably should have went to Food for Less and bought fresh sprouts. That could have been more fun. And let's go. This part has a weird part on it. It's going over there. not eating, like sometimes I would eat the top of the carrot, but that one's I don't know. I don't want to waste it either because I'm like, this part's good, but that part's not. Like, I can just cut around with it. I used to be like super frugal where I would eat the whole thing. We're going to go back to the 1950s where we were like really salvaging everything. I'm just saying. I hope we don't go back. I don't think we're going that far back. But also, too, I've been thinking about this too. There's a lot of silliness in the news, but are they just... I feel like they are trying to like fearmonger a little bit too. And you have to kind of be like, yeah, there's a lot of things that are happening right now that might not be the best, but do you want to buy into their fear? I don't. Maybe we should just live our lives and enjoy it. But be aware of what could happen. Because I feel like there's a lot of people in this world that would like you not to enjoy your life and not to be happy. But I want you to be happy, okay? I want you to be kind to others and be happy and find the agency in your life to be happy. And it is possible. My friend and I were talking about this. Like, I know a lot of people, like, they believe in therapy and they think that that going to therapy is going to make them happier. And I'm not debunking that. But my friend, actually, she has a degree in psychology. And then she went back to school to get like an IO, like business degree in psychology, and then she is in the medical field now. And she's really smart. And she's like, you know what? She has talked to many therapists, and they never really made her feel better per se. Because here's the thing. Well, especially in America, honestly. It's about money. It's like, how much are we going to charge you today? So I feel like this, in this day and age, this might be an unpopular opinion, but there are so many books out there. There's so much information online. Like, yeah, go see somebody if it makes you feel better. But I feel like you can research things and learn things, which is what I do. Like, I try to learn new things all the time, like by reading and researching. That you don't need to actually go pay for those services. I mean, if you want to, you should do it, but I don't know. My friend and I, we were talking about this, and we just don't feel like it's super helpful. Like, we feel like... But also, too, we love to read and try and figure things out on our own and try and figure out the education behind it. So you could read all the books and articles that psychologists read. And maybe... Like, I don't read psychology books, but I read a lot of articles, and I try to learn how processing through things and whatnot. Like, if I have a question about something in my life, I look it up, I try and research it. So I'm not like I'm not saying therapy isn't helpful, but I do feel like at the end of the day, you could go to therapy. You could go for years. Look, here's an example. Woody Allen went to therapy for like 40 years, but he never seemed happy. Well, maybe he just, I feel like that was his thing. I feel like that just became his brand. Like, from when he first became kind of famous in the movie Sleeper all the way up until, I don't know, now. Like, he plays a character, which is himself, who seems kind of just always anxious, always kind of depressed. And depression is a very real thing, but my belief is, like, I just know my mom's experience. Like, I've talked about this before. My mom went through some, like, really big things in her life, but she said, I want to value life, and I want to be happy, and I want to appreciate the experience and the opportunity I have to live. Like, here's an example. Her mom passed away when she was 13 years old, okay? A couple of her siblings died when she was young. So she was very young, and she had to help her dad, like, plan dinners because her older siblings didn't do it. And she had to help clean the house. And she had to do a lot of things that, like, a lot of kids wouldn't want to do. Like, some people would want to go into their room and just cry. And she was sad about it. But she goes, I still miss my mom, but I feel like it would be a crime not to live this beautiful life and have all the opportunities that life affords. And this is our viewpoint. This is just how we view the world. Like, we believe in being super hard workers. Like, I believe in having a super hard work ethic. Like, I think the whole quiet quitting thing, like where people just believe in doing minimal effort, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I think you should take pride in being helpful to others and doing your best job and like really pushing yourself to make the world a better place. Like, I just think we've gotten to a point where people make it all about them nowadays and not about like wanting to make others happy. Like, my mom was like 13 when her mom passed away, and her older siblings were just so depressed. So she said, I knew that I had to make dinner because who was going to make dinner? Like, that's how it was, because their dad was working. And she was like, somebody has to make dinner. So she started doing that. There were just so many things that my mom had to deal with and go through. And it made her really appreciate life. And she goes, life is a gift. It really is. And this also, we believe in God. And I do believe in God. I know some people like don't, but I definitely do. So I feel like I'm not going to tell you what to believe. You believe what you want. But I believe that there is a higher power, and I believe there's a purpose to life. So those are just my thoughts on that. But I feel like you should appreciate life. I know some people say that you shouldn't, like, that you can't be happy and you shouldn't be happy. So I'm not saying don't go to therapy. Like, go to therapy if you need it. But also, too, you could talk to a million therapists, like Woody Allen. And at the end of the day, sometimes you have to take agency for your own happiness. Like, I was talking to my friend today, and I was like, I feel like it's our duty to try and do what we can to be the happiest we can be. Because there are people, like, I'm thinking about how I have third and fourth cousins in Syria right now, which has become very unstable again. And they would love the opportunity to live in America and to have all the opportunities that we're afforded here. Even if things seem bleak at the moment, do you know how many people would love the opportunity to live like in a place where they could like do all the things that we can do nowadays? And I feel like we should appreciate those things and appreciate what we have. And when life was much harder back then, people didn't have time to sit around and well, people don't live as long. Although I had some ancestors, I've done genealogy, that lived to be like 100, but a lot of people, they just didn't live. Like, you lived to be 40, you were lucky. That was like the minimum, like the average life expectancy about 100 years ago, a little bit more than 100 years ago. But life was just so hard back then that you didn't have the time to kind of reflect and just think about like how you felt about things or to process things. People went through some pretty traumatic stuff. So I know nowadays we're better at dealing with trauma, which is good. And I'm not like saying, oh, therapy's not good. But if you do go to therapy, I still think you have to work on your own happiness and work on finding solutions to things that might be getting you down. I believe that. But this is just my worldview. I'm just going to tell you, try to work on finding gratitude in life. Finding the gratitude in life. Because my mom always said it was the most important thing was to appreciate life on earth. Because it's a gift from God. And we believe that. And I don't know, like that way of thinking just really given me a lot of comfort in life. And that's just how I view the world. I'm not saying that everybody else views the world that way. But that's how I do. Like, to me, it's not about, is this influencer making $1 million? It doesn't really matter because you have this one life on earth. And do you like to paint, or do you like to draw, or do you like to skateboard? Like, what do you like to do with your life? You should start like today thinking about like, what is it that makes you the happiest? And do that thing. And I find that I really like just doing my little YouTube videos, and they don't have to be slick. Like, some people, like, I used to do a collaboration with this person, and I would say that even to this day, she's not doing slick videos, but it's like she started getting weird about how we did YouTube, and she was like, oh, it has to be like a Hollywood production. But I'm like, I'm not a Hollywood production team. This is my fun hobby. And I just find YouTube's a lot of fun. I like doing it for fun as a hobby. I don't need to make it some slick production, you know? Like, I think if you find like something that you really enjoy doing, like it could be a career, yes, but outside of your career, you should have certain things that you enjoy doing, like a hobby or an interest, and just really follow that and really lean into it. And if people in your life don't support you in it, that's where the online communities come in. I still think like, yeah, it's good to not be on your phone 24/7, but I do think online communities have a big purpose because you can find like-minded people. The internet's not just about whatever influencer is wearing what lip gloss today. Like, there's so much more. Like, people are like, oh, TikTok's bad, YouTube's bad, but not really. There's a lot of really good content. Like, there's documentaries, there's cooking, there's all sorts of things. There's movies, like there's all sorts of content. There's content for people of all ages. So if people are like complaining about, oh, this influencer is like, oh, making everybody buy this, there are other things that you can watch on and look at and look up on social media. And you can start your own channel and share like your expertise on something. And it doesn't have to be like a Hollywood production video. I just view YouTube as a fun way to have a healthy dialogue in an uplifting way. And I like to talk about how I stir fry eggplant. That's what I like to talk about. I know. So do YouTube in your own way. I'm just saying. I'll be back for part 2. I'll be back in a bit, okay, guys? I'll be back.